Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is Tuesday, June 4th, and I just wanted to make a quick video on believing in yourself and not giving up. So, a bit about myself. My name is Michael. I'm born and raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I've lived here my entire life. Yeah, a little bit about not giving up. So, after high school, at 18 years old, I went to university. However, when I was there, I had a lot of troubles figuring out what I wanted to do in life. Like I'm sure many of you, there was a lot of financial pressures, and I felt, at least in myself, that if I was going to go to school, I had to make a really good career out of it. However, when I was there and I was trying all these different courses, psychology, economics, what have you, nothing really seemed to stick, and I was a bit embarrassed. Why was I embarrassed? A lot of my friends in my peer groups, whether they wanted to be doctors, engineers, lawyers, whatever, they were making steady progress in their careers, except I kind of felt like myself, like, hey, I'm trying my hardest, I'm doing all these different types of courses, and for some reason I'm just not succeeding. Kind of like, what's wrong with me, right? So after 2 years of university and really giving it my all, I said, you know what, it's time for me to leave. I wasn't forced out. I didn't fail any classes. I wasn't on the like the expulsion list or what have you. I purposely chose to leave because I said, you know what, I'm not comfortable in spending all this money every year for tuition for a path I don't really see myself. And if I had one regret from my early 20s is kind of feeling so much shame from leaving. Honestly, especially if you've given it your best shot and say, hey, I want to be that programmer. You do the programming classes and maybe you don't make the cut. You know what? It's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world, right? Maybe you want to be a writer and you realize, you know what, journalism school is really expensive and I just can't afford it. You know what? There's nothing saying you can't use ChatGPT as well as your own writing to make your own blog posts on LinkedIn or make your own website or whatever, right? Just make your own YouTube videos. So I guess maybe it's a long way of saying if one door closes, another one opens, right? So what does that mean for me in my life? When I left university at 20, I had really no idea what I wanted to do. So I just started experimenting. I was working as a security guard. I did limo driving. I worked in construction. I worked on movie sets. I was a building inspector. I was really just trying to find any job that I could say, okay, there's a slight interest in, and that I could try to build something out of, right? So, for example, for security, maybe initially it's not much, but then oftentimes a lot of security officers will try to become police officers, so they work for the border security services, or they go into the military or something like that, right? So I was thinking about that in the same way. And kind of everything I was doing, I wasn't kind of finding my footing. All the while, I was only making, minimum wage or slightly above. So in addition to feeling shame, like, oh, I'm a college dropout, there was a lot of shame from not making as much money as my friends. And this is what I want to tell you too. In addition to not feeling shame for you leaving university, don't feel ashamed for experimenting. A lot of people, what I've come to realize is that a lot of people won't experiment with employment as much as I have. And maybe that, maybe as much as you will if you're watching this video. There's really nothing to be ashamed of, with employment. Obviously, it's kind of a difficult job market right now, but it's you. If you're like me, you're going to learn best by doing. Obviously, there's a time and place for classroom learning. There's a time and place for conversations and book learning. But I find, specifically with men, we learn by doing. So we don't know what it's like to be a plumber unless we actually go and become a plumber's apprentice, right? We don't know what it's like to be working on movie sets until we actually get that job and start trying. So I guess my one regret is don't feel ashamed for trying. And that's what I'll give to you. So if you have the opportunity to do something and you're not really sure about a career path and maybe it doesn't make sense, go for it anyways. So after my 4 years of kind of experimenting with different types of jobs and career paths, I kind of realized in myself that I was ready for something a bit more stable. The film industry was treating me really well. I was making lots of money and I was really good at it at my job. However, I realized a lot of people aren't happy. In addition to being very cyclical work, so the film industry will have peak months and months where everyone's pretty much laid off. And there'll be good years and bad years on top. I just looked around the film sets one day. I said, you know what? Who's in their 40s and 50s and he was actually happy. I looked around, and there's a lot of people addicted to smoking cigarettes, drugs, alcohol. There'd be people making 150 to $200,000 a year, but they couldn't afford $30 for gas. And I kind of just said to myself, you know what? Is this kind of the peer group that I want to be around? Right? Is this who I want to be drawing inspiration from? And I couldn't answer that. I could answer that. The answer was no. I didn't want to be like that, right? If you're kind of the product of your environment, at least to some extent, if you're influenced by your environment, that wasn't the environment I wanted to be in. So I said, okay, what's something I can do? Luckily, I went to technical college in Burnaby, British Columbia. I went to an open house and I found a program that was really suited for me in the insurance industry. So I did a 2-year diploma there. And then I started working in the corporate world shortly after in early 2021. I guess I really just want to say, too, that in my early 20s, if I was only making $12 or $15 an hour, now I'm making significantly more. I've just recently started a new job. It's a more senior position in the insurance industry. And, my hourly rate is like multiples of that. So I really just want to say to you, maybe something in the moment doesn't make sense. Maybe something doesn't make logical sense. Oh, why would I, do security and then jump to, plumbing, then I do this other type of job. And if you're always thinking of it from like a resume standpoint, how does this all look when it's fit together? Then yeah, sometimes it might not make sense in the moment. But when you look back, I guarantee between all your jobs, there might be a common thread. And in that thread, you can find something. For me, it was kind of loss prevention, fire safety, and security, I guess. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What I guess I'm trying to say is that it takes a lot of time for you to find your way, especially if you're someone that's curious, especially if you're a man and you feel that pressure to, like, if you feel like you're someone that has to experiment with life in order to learn what it's about, like myself, it can take many, many years to figure out who you are, how you're going to contribute to society, and what you're going to do with your life. Even still today, like I'm still thinking about new ways and how I can give back to my community and what I want to do for myself and how I want to change the world. And it's always evolving. So don't feel like you have to have it figured out at 18 or 20 or 23 or whatever, 25, whatever. Just have grace with yourself. Really kind of dial into who you are and what you want. And, just don't beat yourself up. It's all part of the journey. If you have to leave school to figure that out and to work, you know what? Hey, school will always be there. There'll always be a position open at the job, and hopefully you can come back to it if you don't burn any bridges. So yeah, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, and I remember in my early 20s, I really wanted to give up when I was not doing financially well and I was not happy in my jobs, and my friends were making significant advances in their careers and I wasn't. I was stagnating and I felt like a loser. So now, fast forwarding 5, 6 years, I'm financially stable. I have a good job. I'm still building, but I'm on track to be, a very successful person in 5 to 10 years, as long as I keep up this momentum. And I really want the same thing for you as well. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So just believe in yourself and, just keep trying. I know it's a difficult job market right now. There's many people unemployed and people getting ghosted on interviews and things. But you know what? Sometimes you can figure it out. Like, just keep trying, and I believe in you. Okay? So, anyways, this is just a little quick short video. I wanted to maybe issue this video for anyone else young in their 20s in Canada or the US that's kind of struggling with their career and what they're going to do in life. For the people that don't feel like they fit in, I just wanted to make something for you. Anyways, that's all for now. Thank you so much. Bye bye.